Right. We are live. We are live, people. So today, we're gonna come back to the 50 Reasons talk. Today, I got inspired by a talk that I heard earlier today, a video I watched earlier today, that I just have to share with you about. Have to bring this idea to you about um, how to be able to sell better using stories, especially and specifically in your books. So let's get this. Let's get it. Let's get it started today. I got a lot of good content for you. So I'm just hyped up. So hopefully I can get through this without going too far into too long of a stories. Anyway, we're gonna get into it today because that's exactly what we're talking about. Using these stories to sell more. Don't want to miss this. So let me get this posted here. Post. Boom. That's being shared. So excellent. Get back on there. So y'all, how y'all doing today, man? Look. As you're coming in to join us on the broadcast or coming on to replay, go ahead and share this message out to someone that you know is trying to write better books or who's trying to increase their sales. I'm going to specifically talk about using stories in your books to help sell your books, or excuse me, sell your concepts and your ideas and your products and so forth. However, the ideas that I'm going to talk about today, the concept is universal, from selling from the stage or selling face to face. These are the ideas and frameworks that you can use in order to sell better. So as you're coming in, go ahead and share that, but also let me know where you're joining us from, and if you have written a book or thinking about writing a book, and matter of fact, really want to hear that today. Today I want to know if you know how to use a story to sell. Put that in the comments. And if you use stories to sell. And let me get these notes back up here where I can see them. Can't use them if they're in the background. Excellent. Let's get this on this side. And we are good to go. Excellent. All right, so we're going to get started here in just one second. No. Yeah, that's what most people are saying. I see Charles saying over there, no, not using stories to sell. Again, you see the hashtag over there on Facebook. It says hashtag storytelling over selling. I mean, I've had that website name, the URL for years now, and I haven't really put any content on there. I just knew that that's one of the keys to selling, is being able to tell great stories. It's always been able to, people have always been able to sell me when they told me a great story and let me understand. I got engaged. The next thing you know, I'm like, yes, I want that. They've explained what they're doing. They've told a little more about who they are. All of that came through stories. So I grabbed that name years ago for that website so that I could go on there and start putting a course on selling on there. So we're going to talk about how storytelling over selling, but specifically how to tell stories that sell. So if that is something you want to hear about, definitely put a yes in the comments. No matter of fact, put a 1 in the comments if using stories to sell, if that's something that you want to learn. So I get more understanding of what to put on here, which I want to hear, how to grow your business. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's conversation. So welcome to another episode of the Daily Fortune. We today are talking about how to tell stories that sell. How to tell stories that sell. Now, here's what I want to start off with. This is the premise for today's conversation: is that when you master telling great stories, you need in order to master your selling. You master telling great stories in order to master your selling. So what does that mean? So let's give you a background on this. So I was watching a video earlier today. I was listening to a training by Russell Brunson on how to sell anything to anyone. Now, of course, like, man, you see that type of title, you're going to have to click on. I had to listen to that. With that type of title, how to sell anything to anyone. So here's the secret, though. The secret to selling anything to anyone is storytelling. And here's how here's what I mean by this. Okay, in year one, ClickFunnels, his company ClickFunnels, they brought in about 10,000 members in the first year of doing business. In their second year, they doubled their business and brought in another 10,000. So they were at 20,000 members, over 20,000 members by the end of their second year. Now, by the end of the third year, they jumped to over 50,000 members. They went from 20,000 to over 50,000 members. Then in the fourth year, there was only about 10,000 more members brought in. So they're over 60,000, but there was a difference between year 3 and year 4. And now we're moving into year 5. They're just starting in year 5, and they're already at over 76,000 members. So they jumped another 15,000 members already. Now the question is, what caused the jumps? Like, what caused the jumps in those years where they had that big growth? Now here's the answer. Each of those years that they had those big growth is when Russell Brunson released a book. He released a book, marketed his ideas and how to grow your business, and of course that led people to go see, what type of business are you in? What do you have to offer? Because he released those books, he had that big jump from 20,000 to over 50,000, and then again over this last year he jumped again quickly when he released his book, compilation book of interviews that he did on the 30-day challenge. Each year he did that, he had a big jump in his sales, a big spike. Now, writing a book isn't going to automatically, you have to know this, writing a book isn't automatically going to increase your sales, right? It's not. Now, you must be able to sell your ideas in a certain way that causes people to believe what you say, to accept that they can do what you say, and then to overcome the unsuccessful life experiences that are whispering in their ears, telling them to not even try. Okay? So let's get into what that means. Let's break that down there for you. Benjamin Franklin, I love this quote by Benjamin Franklin. He says that a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So what does that even mean? Let me tell you this. Look, a few years ago when Trump was trying to get into office, we was going through all the debates and so forth. My family was having a debate in the car. It was me, my father, my mother, my sister, and her husband, so my brother-in-law, and we're all talking about about Trump and what he's doing. And I made the statement of, I know you may not like Trump going in, but he's a great marketer. He knows how to sell himself, so he's probably going to win the election. Now, I'm not going into politics. I'm just telling you what I said, and that caused a big uproar in the car with my father saying he's not a good man, all this other stuff that's going on. It got to the point in that car, the debate got so heated with us each trying to convince each other of our viewpoints and being right, that we got so hostile about the directions on how to get home. I told my father to turn this way. He said, I'm going this way, and it just got bad. Because of us trying to convince each other of a simple argument that didn't even need to be argued about, right? It was just supposed to be a conversation. Now, because of that, trying to convince them, my father left with the same opinion, my sister, my mother, everybody had the same opinion after leaving that, because no one was able to come up with just a reasonable conversation. See, here's this. People are full of great ideas. Here's what I mean by this, okay? People are full of great ideas. Now, in order for you to sell your ideas well, you must sell your ideas in a way that your idea trumps, like what I did there, trumps their ideas, and they accept your ideas as a better idea. The only way to do that, or the best way that I know to do that, is to tell a story that allows them to step into your ideas, step into how you believe in, and step into your understanding, so they're more receptive to what you're saying. I'm going to say that again. When you tell a great story, as I just did, I gave you an example of a story of how a conversation that start off as a normal conversation, because you're trying to bounce these ideas off each other, how my parents and everyone else was convinced of the same idea. So now you're more receptive to the idea that a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. Now, this is Benjamin Franklin, so man, woman, sorry about all that, okay? So here's what I want you to understand. When you're putting out your ideas, there's 5 things your ideas should be doing. All right, the ideas you offer are meant to inspire, to dare someone to do something, to assist them in doing what they're doing, to educate them on idea, on your concepts or your belief systems, or to solve their problem. Okay, again, they inspire, they dare someone, they educate them, they assist them, or they solve a problem. Now, if I hit on a great idea, or if you hit on a great idea, it'll do 3 or more of those things. And that is a great idea. People are more likely to say, you might be onto something right there. So how many of your ideas can you turn into, can you deliver in a way that inspires someone, educates them, and solves a problem? If you do that with your idea and your delivery of, in your sales presentation, in your book, and the stories that you're selling your ideas, they're more likely to say, So now the question you ask right now is like, how do I do that? How do I tell a story that inspires, educates, and solves, or that dares, assists, and solves, or that does all 5 of them? Inspires, dares, educates, assists, and solves a problem. How do we do that? Using a story. It's a good question. So here's what I want you to start doing, is to start collecting your stories. Start collecting your stories. Not too long ago, I went to a training, right? For my speaking, I wanted to crush the stage. Great training, phenomenal training when I was there. Now, over the course of this weekend, we did all types of exercises that improved our ability to get on stage and deliver and crush the stage. So the person coming on after us was like, I don't know if I even want to get up there no more. Right? That's how you want to handle the stage, with that type of confidence, with that much authority. Now, one of the exercises that we did is we had a white sheet on the board, and we were supposed to just talking about the things that have happened in life, just a bunch of incidences, situations that we went through in our life. Just write them all down on the list. And then on the next column, we're supposed to write down our message, a meaning from each of those situations, right? And that was a way for us to start building our database of ideas. And when you start going through this exercise, I got real excited, because here is this master storyteller, master presenter, who's doing something, who's teaching us a concept that I was already doing. And I suggest you start doing yourself. In my Evernote, on my Evernote, my app, whatever app that you use to collect your ideas, your notebook, your journal, whatever it is, start taking inventory of the things that are happening in your life. You see, because here's the thing. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. That's what Albert Einstein said, a genius who broke down energy into what's it? E equals mc squared. He broke down things and concepts so quick, so easily. Well, what is the speed of light? He's imagined himself being on a light beam and going off, and what would it look like? Like he explains these concepts, these high-level concepts, in such small and simple terms that we can receive them. And he said, again, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So how do you explain something very simply? The best way to do that, again, is to tell a story that your reader can relate to. So how do you have enough stories to tell all these, to relate to someone from different angles? Every time something happens in your life that's like, that's interesting, you write it down. If you read a good story somewhere and it's like, that's interesting, you take a note of it and start building that database. Start building a database of your life experiences and relate them to what you offer. What does that mean? That means something happens, you've written that story down, you say, how can I use this story to sell what I offer? How can I use this story to sell my network marketing company? How can I use this story to sell my products? How can I use this story to help someone understand what it means when I help build a website? What is SEO? These ideas you start collecting from your personal experience, and then you start getting a database of stories that you can tap into to help someone understand what you're saying to them, to help them get to remove the confusion about what you're offering to them. See, a confused mind says no. A story helps remove that confusion as you use a story to help them relate it. Okay? Now, the next thing I want to go into is this. Understand this, y'all, because if you have this database of stories, it doesn't mean that you can tell a good story. Does it? Jeff Goins says, you can outlast those who are lucky, and you can outwork those who are lazy, right? You can outlast those who are lucky and outwork those who are lazy. What was he talking about? He was talking about your ability to to write great stories, to become a great writer, to be a great storyteller. Means that you may not be good at first, but you continue to practice, you refine your story, and continue to practice and write and tell more stories until you get good at it. You continue to do it. Now, here's one of the things that I did in order for me to get better at my storytelling. See, several years ago, I would go on the internet and I would type in like inspirational stories or fairy tales or whatnot, and I'd find these little stories that I thought had some meaningful concept to them, right? They'll tell these stories, and that's how we were learned as children, is through these little stories. And there was always a meaning behind the story. When you were in elementary school, your teacher probably says, so what does this story mean? What does the rabbit and the hare story mean? What does the fox and the hound, what does these stories mean, right? So I would find these stories, and then I would retell those stories. I would rewrite them in my own ways and my own with my own words, and from the perspective that I felt was better serving of what I was trying to do, the message I was trying to convey, and I was trying to find my own voice. So I take stories that I already knew and rewrite them for myself. And over time, I got better at telling these stories so that they had a meaning behind them. I could take a fictional story and create my own meaning from behind that story. It took time. But then as I figured this out and got better at it, I mean, I was putting these up on podcasts, and it was crazy for me because I spent so much time trying to write this little 500-word story, and it'd take me an hour, 2 hours to write a 500-word story because I was trying to improve my skills at writing stories. The same thing, like Jeff Goins says, you can outlast those who are lucky and outwork those who are lazy. That's how you improve your storytelling skills until it becomes good. But also with a framework. So I'm going to give you a framework as we start closing out today's conversation. And if this is good to you, I hope you've shared it already. If this is good to you, go ahead and put I love it in the comments, right? So here's the story framework for you to start taking those stories that you're building in your database and to craft stories from them. It's STORY. Again, you know I like using acronyms. STORY. So S stands for statement. T is tell a story. O is objections, objectives, objections, and observations. The R says to review, and the Y says yes. So what does that mean? I'm going to break this down quickly, and I'll tell you how to find out more on how to use this for yourself, incorporate it into what you're doing in your next book or in your own sales presentation. See, the statement is, you want to make a statement that captures the attention and introduces your idea. That's how you're going to start writing your chapters of your book, right? Each chapter of the book, you're going to make a statement that captures the attention and introduces your idea for that chapter. Okay? Just like we start off here, how to tell stories that sell. That captures your attentions for the idea and introduces the idea I'm going to give to you in today's talk. Right? So the T stands for tell a story. So I started off by telling you a story about Russell Brunson, about what I was listening to today. So you tell a story that helps your reader understand why your idea is valuable and how you came to that idea. Okay? The first O stands for the objective story. So the objective story delivers the way they will accomplish your big idea. Okay, it tells them how they're going to deliver this big idea, which is, I say, by using stories. The objection story offers a way for the person, your reader, to deal with the personal beliefs about them being able to do what you've introduced to them. So I talked about being able to pull stories from your life. That is a way for you to say, I don't have good stories. How am I going to tell a story? Well, I gave you a way to look into your life and start tapping into your life to find those stories. So now you start believing, oh, I guess I do have some stories that I could use to sell. The last O stands for the observations. The observation stories overcome the beliefs that your readers telling them that it's not possible. So even though you've decided, all right, stories will sell. I need to tell more stories. And now you believe like, oh, I do have a way I can tell stories. I have stories in my life. Now you may be thinking, but I don't know how to tell a good story. Even though I have this whole database of stories that I can write down, I don't know how to tell a good story. So I gave you now the framework. See, I've gone through the exact same framework with you as I'm delivering today's talk. The R stands for review. So, this review is the transition to your call to action, which I'm going to get to in just a second. And the Y stands for yes, your ensuing step. So what you're going to do here is tell them what to do next. Give them a call to action. So to sum this all up, you're going to give your readers ideas, which are inspiring, daring, educational, assisting, or a solution. And then those ideas are going to trump what they believe by using stories from your life experience delivered in a way that makes it easy to digest, like using a story framework. Now, I want to dive deeper into these ideas and help you to write better books, write better stories that help sell your products or services, to inspire people to come in and donate to your cause, whatever it is why you want to write your book. And the best way for me to do that is to bring you to a workshop so we can go in depth into the whole process of writing your book from the beginning. Because what I talked about today is in the middle. This is step 5. This is step 5. What we're talking about today is step 5 in the signature book writing process. There's things that come up before that. Setting yourself up, getting intent for the book. All these things are more important for you to do before you start writing. So you write the right book that accomplishes what you want to get. So you can go to bit.ly/Easy Way Book Workshop. On there, that's going to take you to an Eventbrite page for you to come to the workshop coming up here on the 16th. Okay, on the 16th, I'm going to go through this whole signature book formula and teach you how to write your book in less than 4 hours. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to write your book in less than 4 hours at that event. Again, there's also virtual tickets offered there, so that if you're not in Indianapolis, where we are right now, you can still join us on that workshop and still get all these goodies that I'm going to deliver to you in that workshop. You got to be there to get this. Okay, so again, bit.ly/Easy Way Book Workshop. Grab your tickets for come see me here in Indianapolis, or grab your virtual ticket, and I'll give you a Zoom link so you can join us virtually. With that being said, to y'all, do we have any questions before we close out for today? Was that good? Did I deliver today? I think I delivered today. Yeah, I think I did. Man, if I crushed that, y'all need to put in the comments you crushed that. If you have any questions about anything I said today before we get off here. All right. What's up, Espo? I'll see you out there on Instagram. All right, so I'm going to close out today's conversation as we always do. You can be, you can do, you can have anything you want in this world. You just got to believe. You can live a life of no doubt, just blessings. And I'll show you how right here. But you got to do one thing for me, y'all. All my no doubters out there, and all who want to become part of No Doubt Nation, you know how we end this. You know what our mantra is. You're going to say it loudly and do it proudly and make life happen every day. And God bless. I love y'all, and I talk to y'all.